You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin.
I was halfway through folding a load of laundry when Tara said it, like she was asking what was for dinner. I think I'm in love with someone else. Just like that, calm as anything, not a flinch in her voice. I looked up from a pair of socks, not even sure I'd heard her right. You think you're in love? I asked. No, she said, shaking her head slowly. I am. Her voice was steady. That's what really messed with my head. 23 years together, and she didn't even stutter. Quick note. Before we go further, share where you're watching from. Which city or country? What the hell are you talking about? I asked, standing up. Who? She didn't look at me, just kept folding one of my work shirts like this was a normal Wednesday night in our living room. His name's Victor. He teaches guitar at the art center. I met him a few weeks ago. I felt the heat rush up my neck. A few weeks? You're telling me you love a guy you just met a few damn weeks ago? She finally looked at me then, and I'll never forget her eyes, like she pitied me. It's not just a crush, Mitch. It's something electric. I've never felt anything like it. I wanted to laugh, or scream, or flip the damn coffee table. Instead, I just stood there, like an idiot, trying to find a crack in her story. Some clue she was bluffing. Maybe it was a phase. Maybe she was trying to get a reaction out of me. But no, she believed every word she was saying. Tara, we've been married over 2 decades, I said, voice shaking. We raised a daughter. We built a life. What about all that? She shrugged. I didn't plan this. I wasn't looking. It just happened. I sat down on the edge of the couch, palms sweaty, heart pounding. So what, you're leaving? I don't know yet. I laughed once, bitter. You don't know? She sat across from me, legs crossed, still too damn calm. I'm not saying I don't love you. There's something about him I can't ignore. I looked around our living room, the family photos, the beige throw pillows she picked out, the rug we'd fought over at Lowe's, and it all felt fake, like some bad play I didn't audition for. That's when I knew this wasn't some silly mistake. She really meant it. I kept hearing her words on a loop. Something electric. Never felt anything like it. Like she'd been waiting her whole life for this guy. Thing is, she used to say the same kind of stuff about me. That was back in '97. Trade school in Lima, Ohio. I was 19, straight out of high school, sweating through electrical systems classes and pulling weekend shifts at a gas station to pay for books. Tara was studying dental hygiene. She was in one of those all-white uniforms that made her look too clean for the rest of us. But the first time I saw her, she wasn't in class. She was outside, sitting on the edge of the school fountain with a little sketch pad in her lap, legs crossed, pencil moving fast. I slowed down as I passed, trying not to stare, but also trying to figure out what the hell she was drawing. She didn't look up, just said, "If you stop lurking and come over here, I might draw you." I stood there like an idiot, hand on my backpack strap. "Relax," she added, finally glancing up. "That mullet alone is worth 5 pages." I remember touching the back of my neck, instantly self-conscious. It's not a mullet. It's layered. Sure. Business in the front, party in the back, she smirked. Real original. I laughed. It was awkward as hell, but I liked her immediately. She was sharp, quick, way different from the girls I knew back home. A week later, I worked up the nerve to ask her out. Her exact response? "If we get burgers and go-karts, I'll think about it." We went that Friday. She beat me in the first race, barely. Second race, I let her win. Halfway through her milkshake, she leaned over and said, "If you keep throwing races for me, I might marry you someday." I thought she was joking. Maybe she was. But 2 years later, she did. By '99, we had a tiny apartment near Dayton and 2 used cars that could barely handle winter. Tara got a full-time job at a dental clinic in town, and I started working at a shipping warehouse that's still running today. I've been in logistics ever since. We didn't have much. I remember eating grilled cheese and tomato soup for dinner more nights than not. But we didn't fight about money, or anything really. She was always good at stretching a dollar. Thrift stores, couponing. We'd save up once a year to go to the lake in Michigan. Stay in one of those crappy little cabins with no TV. She loved it. She used to sketch me while I fished. Said I looked peaceful when I wasn't talking. Even when things were hectic, when she worked late or I was pulling doubles during the holiday rush, we made time. We'd sit on the porch and split a beer, or lay on the floor listening to old CDs. The Cranberries, Counting Crows, a little Sheryl Crow, whatever she was into that month. And she always touched me when she talked. Little things. Her hand on my knee. Her foot nudging mine under the table. That stuff sticks with you. People think long marriages fall apart from fights or cheating. But ours didn't start with any of that. It started with burgers, go-karts, and her calling out my haircut. I didn't see the cracks because, for years, it didn't feel cracked. Felt solid. Real. Until she dropped the damn bomb like she was asking me to pass the salt. We built a life like most people we knew, slow, steady, no big drama. Not flashy, but comfortable. Tara worked full-time at the dental clinic. I stayed in the warehouse world, moved up to logistics coordinator after about 10 years. We had benefits, paid vacations, enough savings to fix the roof without taking out a loan. The kind of life where you know the garbage pickup schedule and always have a frozen lasagna in the freezer just in case. Lauren was born in 2004, on a gray Tuesday in April. 7 pounds, all lungs. Tara held her like she was made of glass. I remember thinking, I don't know how to raise a daughter, but Tara did. Or at least she looked like she did. We took turns on diapers and midnight feedings, though honestly, Tara carried more of the weight in those early years. She had the patience. I had the steady paycheck. And somehow that worked. Lauren grew up fast. Honor roll, soccer team, the whole deal. She got Tara's eyes but my jaw, poor kid. We didn't spoil her, but we never let her go without either. Tara stayed active. She always did. Even after the baby weight, she got back into yoga and joined a book club that met every other Thursday at some wine bar downtown. She kept herself put together, hair done, gym routine tight, real perfume, not just body spray. She'd come home from yoga or the studio sometimes, laughing to herself. "What's funny?" I'd ask. "Oh, just one of the guys at the gym. Cracks me up. Total goofball." Or, "There's this one guy in spin class, he makes everything a joke. He's harmless, though." It didn't register back then. I mean, Tara was friendly with everyone. She could strike up a conversation in a checkout line and end up with someone's life story. If anything, I liked that about her. Made me feel like she balanced out my no BS, clock in clock out kind of personality. We weren't one of those couples who fought all the time. We didn't scream across the house or slam doors. If anything, we were too polite. When we disagreed, it was quiet. Should we refinance the mortgage? Should Lauren go to private school or not? That kind of stuff. And we had sex. Not constantly, but enough. It slowed down after Lauren, which I figured was normal. We still had those nights, especially after a good date or when Tara had wine. And she never pulled away. She kissed me like she meant it, held onto me in bed, whispered little things that made me think. Yeah, we're still in this. Only real argument we had, the one that actually stuck, was about having a second kid. Tara brought it up when Lauren was 6. "I've been thinking," she said one night while folding towels. "Maybe we should try again, while we still can." I just looked at her. "Tara, we barely get a full night's sleep as it is." She half laughed. "I know, but I don't want Lauren to be an only child." "We've got a good rhythm right now," I said. "Another baby changes everything." She didn't push after that. Just nodded, said, "Okay, I get it." But her voice was smaller than usual. Years later, I'd wonder about that moment. How quick she let it go. Like maybe she'd already decided I wasn't gonna budge. Maybe she wanted more and just didn't say it loud enough. But at the time, I chalked it up to one of those things couples compromise on. She'd always said she liked our simple life. We did weekend breakfast at Waffle House. Took Lauren to the zoo every July. Split the yard work and watched crime shows on the couch while she folded laundry and I scratched lottery tickets. Nothing seemed broken. No red flags, no open wounds. And that's the part that messes with your head the most. Because now I look back and wonder, were things really that normal? Or was I just too damn comfortable to see what was coming? It was the second Saturday in August, Dean and Carla's annual barbecue and blues night. They did it every year like clockwork. Same backyard. Same pulled pork. Same busted speakers from the garage. Tara always loved it. She'd help Carla with decorations, show up in one of her breezy sundresses, make a big deal out of the sweet tea punch. I'd usually park by the smoker with a beer and stay there half the night. We pulled in around 6. Sun still up, music already going. Dean handed me a plate stacked with ribs before I even made it to the porch. Tara disappeared inside to find Carla, and I figured I'd see her again once the food settled. About 30 minutes in, I was talking to a couple of the guys near the grill when I saw her again, standing by the patio lights with someone I didn't recognize. Tall guy, maybe late 30s. Slim, dark hair, tight jeans. Looked like he belonged on a concert poster, not in Dean's backyard. He had one of those accents women eat up on TV, French, I guessed. I squinted, watching them talk. Tara was leaning in, laughing harder than the joke probably deserved. She touched her hair, then his arm. Not a casual touch either. Slow. Familiar. That's when I walked over to the cooler, grabbed 2 drinks, and made my way toward them. As I approached, her body stiffened, just a little. Enough for me to notice. "Oh, hey," she said, flipping her hair back like I'd caught her off guard. "This is Victor. He teaches guitar at the art center." Victor turned, gave a small nod like he was in a cologne commercial. "Nice to meet you, man." Tara smiled, tight-lipped, awkward. "This is my Mitch. My Mitch. Not my husband. Not even Mitch, my husband. Just my Mitch. Like I was her pet or her mechanic." I forced a smile and handed her a hard lemonade. "Didn't know you played guitar." She shook her head. "I don't. Carla introduced us. He's just interesting." Victor chuckled. "Tara has a good ear for music. We were talking about the Black Keys." "Ah," I nodded. "You teach that kind of stuff to your students?" "Sometimes. Mostly blues. Some classical." His shirt was half unbuttoned. Real smooth skin. Rings on his fingers. Tara never liked rings on men. She once called them try-hard. And yet there she was, hanging on every damn word this guy said like she just discovered what music was. I stood there for another minute, fake smiling, letting them finish whatever flirty nothing they were mid-sentence in. Then I said I needed to check on the smoker and walked off. Back by the grill, Dean handed me another beer and smirked. "You look like you smelled something rotten." "New guy. The guitar dude." "Oh, Victor," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah, he's new to the group. Carla met him at the Art Center fundraiser last month. She said he was charming as hell." Tara's already charmed, far as I can tell." Dean's face tightened, but he didn't say anything, just patted my shoulder and wandered off toward the cornhole boards. I stayed by the smoker longer than usual, staring at the ribs like they could explain something. Every time I glanced over, Tara and Victor were still there. Closer now, drinks in hand, their knees nearly touching. That whole night, I told myself I was overreacting, that it was just harmless chatter, that Tara wasn't the type. But deep down, I knew better. The way she leaned in, the way she lit up like she was trying to impress him, like she had something to prove, none of that was normal. And I knew, even if nothing had happened yet, the door had already been cracked open. An hour later, Tara was nowhere to be found. I checked the kitchen, the fire pit, even the front porch where the smokers usually camped out. Nothing. I circled the backyard twice, asked Dean if he'd seen her. He shrugged. Finally, I found Carla refilling the sangria. "Hey, where's Tara?" I asked. "Oh," she said like it was no big deal. "She went to show Victor something in his car." I blinked. "What?" "She said she had some photos or something. I don't know. It's been a while, though." She looked at her watch. "So did I." 45 minutes. Maybe more. "Which car?" I asked. "His Mustang, I think. Red one parked down the street." I jogged out front. Walked the whole block. No red Mustang. No Tara. Called her. Straight to voicemail. Walked back to the yard, trying to keep my cool, even though my gut already knew. "Hey, Dean," I said, pulling him aside. "Did Victor say where he's staying?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "I think he's renting a place near the art center. Carla mentioned something about it." That was enough for me. I got in my truck, fired it up, and headed across town. Drove through every lot around the art center. Parked and walked the perimeter twice. Checked near the loading dock, the side alley, even peeked in windows like a damn lunatic. No car. No sign of them. Tried her phone again. Still voicemail. I sat in the truck for a while, drumming my fingers on the steering wheel, staring at the dark building like it owed me an answer. Eventually I drove home, went straight to the living room, and sank into the recliner. Didn't turn on the TV. Didn't move. Just sat there like a statue while the clock dragged past midnight. 1, 2. Almost 5. The front door creaked open just before sunrise. Tara stepped in wearing the same dress from the night before. Strapless, low back, wrinkled. Hair all over the place. Skin flushed. No purse. She saw me and stopped in the doorway like she forgot I lived there. "Where the hell have you been?" I said, standing up fast. Her voice came soft, almost casual. "I didn't mean to be gone so long." "Answer the question." She sighed. "We just talked. Things got carried away." I stepped forward. "Did you sleep with him?" She held my stare for a second too long. Then she nodded. "Yes." Just like that. No tears. No fake apology. "You slept with him?" I repeated, my voice shaking. "You left a party full of our friends to go screw some guy you met this month in his car?" "It wasn't in his car," she said. "We went back to his place." I stared at her like she'd slapped me. "Are you serious right now?" "I didn't plan it, Mitch, but it felt right. It just did." I laughed, but it came out harsh and empty. "Right? Felt right?" She walked past me and sat on the arm of the couch like she needed a break. "I'm not saying it was perfect. I just... No. You said it felt right. So tell me, what do you want now? You ending this?" She didn't answer at first. Just stared at her bare feet like the carpet was giving her answers. "I don't want to rush anything." I nearly lost it. "Rush? You blew up 23 years in one night and now you don't want to rush?" She stood, arms crossed. "I'm trying to be honest." I stepped back, suddenly cold all over. "So what? I'm supposed to just sit around while you figure things out with your French boyfriend? He's not my... Don't play dumb now. You made a choice." She didn't fight me on it. Didn't beg. Just stood there in silence, her makeup smudged, sweat still on her neck. And that silence told me everything I needed to know. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry. I just grabbed a legal pad, made a list, and got to work. By Tuesday, I had a duplex on the north side, 2 bedrooms, upstairs laundry, no frills. First month's rent paid in cash. Wednesday, I called a lawyer named Harlan Bishop who came highly recommended by a guy at work who'd gone through a rough one himself. Harlan didn't waste time. Said we'd file, serve, and freeze joint accounts immediately. I packed my stuff in silence. My clothes, my tools, my old record player she always hated. I left the TV and the couch. I didn't want anything that had her on it. She watched me from the stairs as I loaded the truck. Said nothing. Not a word. I didn't look at her until the very end, when I grabbed the last box. "You'll get papers in a few days," I said. She flinched like I'd hit her, but still she said nothing. 2 days later, she showed up at the duplex. I opened the door and saw her standing there. No makeup, eyes red, hair in a knot. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Can I come in?" she asked. "No. Please, Mitch. Just 5 minutes." I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. She broke first, started crying, hands shaking. "I messed up," she said. "I know I did, but I panicked, and Victor was just, spare me." I cut in. "You didn't panic. You planned it. You followed through. Now you want time?" "I'm not saying I don't want to fix things. You chose him," I snapped. "I'm not your backup." She stepped forward like she might reach for me, but I didn't move. It's not that simple, she said quietly. It's pretty damn simple from where I'm standing. Then she dropped the next bomb. He's still married. I blinked. Excuse me? Victor. He's married. They've been separated, but it's complicated. I laughed once, sharp. So you left a 23-year marriage for a guy who won't even finalize his divorce? He said it's ending. He's just... Stop. Just stop. Her voice cracked. What if this doesn't work with him? I stared at her, dead quiet. You really just asked me that, I said. She started crying harder. I don't know what I'm doing. I opened the door wider, not to let her in, but to tell her we were done here. You need to leave, Tara. Mitch, go. She walked out slow, like she thought I'd change my mind at the last second. I didn't. I locked the door behind her. Weeks went by. I kept my head down, did my job, got used to silence. One Sunday, I drove past the old house on my way to drop off a lawnmower I'd forgotten in the shed. I stopped at the curb and just stared for a minute. There he was, Victor, moving boxes from the back of an SUV into my garage, wearing cargo pants and some tight-ass t-shirt like he was playing house. I sat there, watching him carry in a guitar case, then a lamp I recognized from Tara's nightstand. He looked right at me but didn't wave, just nodded once like we were neighbors. I didn't nod back. About 4 months later, I was sitting in a diner off Route 9 with Brent from work. Friday night tradition, meatloaf special, and griping about the shipping delays. Place smelled like grease and old coffee, just the way we liked it. Brent was halfway through a story about his neighbor's kid getting suspended when the bell above the door jingled. I looked up. Tara walked in, and she wasn't alone. Right behind her was Victor, holding the door like some gentleman out of a French romance flick. And Tara, well, she was pregnant, visibly, full-on bump, loose sweater, hand on her lower back, swollen ankles stuffed into flats. My stomach dropped. Brent noticed me freeze mid-chew. You good? I didn't answer. They spotted me at the same time. Tara's eyes widened. Victor smiled like we were old friends catching up. I watched them walk over, like slow motion except real and awful. I stood up before they reached the table. Didn't want them towering over me. Tara, I said, keeping my voice even. She opened her mouth, probably to start soft. I didn't give her the chance. And this, I said, turning to Brent, is my soon-to-be ex-wife Tara, and her soulmate Victor. Victor gave a little bow like a jackass. Bonjour. Brent blinked. Damn. Tara cleared her throat, trying to save face. We didn't expect to see you here. Yeah, neither did I said, glancing down at her stomach. Looks like you've been busy. She had the nerve to blush. It's Victor's. Obviously, I snapped. Unless you forgot how timelines work. Victor chuckled lightly, like it was all amusing. Brent leaned in. You need me to bounce him? I waved him off. We're good. Tara shifted her weight, rubbing her belly. I know this is awkward. No, this is insane. I cut in. You're 47, Tara. You never even wanted another kid when we were married. She hesitated. Things change. Brent mumbled under his breath. Yeah. Pants drop. I shot him a look. Not now. Then Victor chimed in, still smiling. Sometimes when love is strong, life finds a way. I stared at him like he was an alien. What are you, quoting Jurassic Park? Tara stepped in fast. Mitch, please. No. You want to stand in front of me, knocked up by the guy you cheated with, and pretend we're all civilized now? Sorry, not playing along. She looked down, suddenly quiet. That should have been the end of it. But 2 days later, I heard more through the grapevine. Carla told Dean. Dean told Brent. Brent told me over Chinese food in the break room. Apparently, Tara stopped taking birth control a few weeks after meeting Victor. Told Carla she felt something amazing and didn't want to miss the window. So that was it. She blew up our marriage for a guy with a guitar and an accent, then fast-tracked a baby like it was some miracle love story. I didn't even know what to do with that. I never wanted another kid. We'd had the talk, had the arguments, settled it. Now here she was, building the life she used to say she didn't need with him. And Lauren? She wasn't quiet about how she felt. She came over that weekend with takeout and a scowl. "She's seriously having his baby?" she said, stabbing a spring roll like it owed her money. I nodded. "Yeah. At her age." I shrugged. "Apparently," she scoffed. "She's lost her mind." I didn't disagree. Lauren leaned back in the chair. "I don't even want to talk to her right now. Every time I try, it's like I'm the bad guy for not being supportive. She acts like this is some fairy tale. It's disgusting." "She'll come around," I said, though I wasn't sure who I meant, Tara or Lauren. She narrowed her eyes. "You're better off, Dad. You know that, right?" I nodded. But deep down, part of me still sat with the fact that I told Tara no to a second kid, and now here she was waddling through diners with a baby on the way, like that was the answer she'd been chasing. Lauren was right. I was better off. But that didn't mean I stopped being curious. A year passed. Life evened out. Duplex felt more like home. Work stayed steady. Lauren graduated and started community college. Tara and I only spoke through email when it came to the divorce paperwork or something about Lauren. Then the invite came. Dean and Carla's barbecue and blues night again. At first, I tossed the envelope straight in the junk pile. But a week later, I pulled it out, sat on it for a while and thought, why not? Let them see I was still standing. So I went. New shirt, trimmed beard, cooler of Miller Lite in the truck bed. I rolled in around 6 and nodded at Dean like it was just another Tuesday. Tara was already there. I saw her across the yard, wearing a sundress again, but she looked thinner than usual, pale, tired in the face. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. She was holding a plastic plate but not eating. Victor was glued to her side at first. Then he wasn't. I kept my distance, posted up near the cornhole boards with some of the guys. Made small talk. Threw a few bags. Laughed when Dean's dog stole a brat off someone's plate. I could still hear Tara's laugh from time to time, but it was quieter now, forced. Then, around dusk, I went inside to grab another drink. That's when I saw it. Victor standing in the kitchen with Amanda, Carla's cousin, I think. Blonde, married, always wore lipstick like she was headed to a wedding. She had a drink in one hand and her other hand on Victor's chest. Victor was grinning, leaning in close. Same damn body language I saw him use on Tara a year ago. That's when Kurt walked in. Amanda's husband. Big guy, quiet type. He paused for half a second, then marched over and grabbed Victor by the arm so hard the bottle in Victor's hand hit the floor. "What the hell's your problem?" Kurt snapped. Victor pulled back. "Hey, don't touch me. You want to flirt with someone's wife? Do it somewhere else, you greasy son of a bitch." Victor tried to twist away, but Kurt held tight. There was a loud pop, then Victor screamed. Everything stopped. Amanda backed up, hands to her mouth. Carla screamed for Dean. Someone yelled to call 911. Victor crumpled to the floor, clutching his arm. Looked like it bent the wrong damn direction. Kurt just stood there, breathing hard, fists clenched. 5 minutes later, sirens pulled up. Paramedics came in, followed by a patrol car. That's when I saw her, Officer Riley. Redhead, late 40s, no-nonsense walk. She scanned the room and made a beeline for me. "You see it happen?" she asked, flipping open a little notepad. "Most of it," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "You're the ex-husband, right? That obvious?" She smirked. "Your face said more than your mouth did." I gave her the short version. Victor hitting on Amanda, Kurt snapping, the arm pop. Riley took it all down without blinking. When I finished, she glanced toward Victor being wheeled out and said, "You still care? Or just enjoy the drama?" I shrugged. "Maybe a bit of both." She smiled. First genuine one I'd seen all night. "Fair enough." She wrote something down, tore it off and handed it to me. "In case you think of anything else." I looked down. Her number. Before I could say anything, she was already moving on to the next witness. I slipped the paper in my pocket. Outside, the party had turned to whispers and text messages. Tara stood under the patio lights alone, arms crossed, not looking at anyone. She didn't speak to me, I didn't speak to her. I left without saying goodbye. 3 days after the party, I called her. Dana Riley. Officer Riley. The redhead with the sharp eyes and sharper pen. I asked if she liked Greek food. She said, "Only if you're not taking me to some fake Irish pub with green beer and shamrock wallpaper." We met at a small spot downtown. Brick walls, old jazz records playing low, smells of lamb and garlic hanging in the air. She walked in wearing jeans and a plain navy shirt. No badge, no belt, just her. And damn if she didn't own the whole room without trying. "Table by the window, okay?" I asked. "Unless you're hiding from someone," she said, smirking. "In that case, make it the booth by the kitchen." Banter was easy. No games, no fake laughs. Just real talk. She ordered spanakopita and ouzo. I stuck with lamb souvlaki and water. Said I was driving. "Divorced," she said, halfway through her plate. 10 years with a guy who thought screwing his coworker during lunch breaks wouldn't come out in therapy. I winced. "How'd you find out?" "He got a promotion and invited her to celebrate." Forgot I was still on the department group chat. "Brutal." She shrugged. "Not really. I gave him the house and took my dog. Best deal I ever made." I laughed, honest for once. She didn't try to soften anything. Didn't flinch when I told her about Tara and Victor. Just nodded and asked smart questions. The kind people only ask when they've been through hell and walked back out. "You still talk to her?" she asked, finishing her drink. "Only when I have to. Still hurts." "Less than it used to," I said. We didn't kiss that night. Just a hug outside the restaurant and a promise to do it again. And we did. Movies, walks, long drives. Sunday morning donuts just because. Nothing rushed. No pressure. She made me feel like a real person again. Like I wasn't just some ex-husband walking around with baggage and receipts. She listened when I talked, called me out when I made excuses, and laughed like she meant it. Meanwhile, Tara's world started cracking. Lauren told me Victor skipped out on child support twice. Canceled a payment plan. Got caught lying about some side gig income. Eventually, he stopped showing up altogether. Tara tried to play it off, but word got around he'd moved back to Chicago. Left her with a toddler and a mortgage and no backup plan. I didn't feel bad. Not really. She made her bed. Then, one afternoon, I stopped at McDonald's after work. Just wanted fries. Simple. And there she was, Tara, sitting in the play place section, half asleep in a booth, baby in a high chair smacking a toy against the tray. Her hair was tied up, face pale, makeup smudged from old effort. She looked up and froze. "Mitch," she said, standing quick. "Hi." I nodded. "Hey." "He wanted nuggets," she said, gesturing at the kid like I asked. I didn't. I glanced at the boy. Maybe one, chubby cheeks, dark eyes. Looked nothing like me. "Cute kid," I said. She smiled, tired. "Thanks." There was a pause. Heavy one. Then she said it. "Why didn't you fight for me?" I looked at her hard. "You weren't mine to fight for anymore." She blinked, didn't reply. I grabbed my order from the counter, nodded again, and turned to leave. As I opened the door, I heard the baby giggle behind me, loud and happy. But I didn't look back. Couple months after the McDonald's run-in, I saw her again outside the hardware store. Tara was loading mulch into her trunk. Alone. Kid must have been with a sitter. She looked up, saw me, and gave this soft half-smile like she didn't know if she should wave or not. I walked over, helped her toss the last bag in without a word. She shut the trunk and leaned on it. "You ever think about what could have been?" she asked. I looked at her. Face worn, tired eyes, but still the same voice I heard for 2 decades. "I did," I said, "for a while. But you picked your path." She nodded. No excuses, no tears. Just nodded. We stood there in the parking lot for a beat too long. Then I walked off. Life moved forward. Dana and I got married 2 years after that first dinner. We kept things simple, courthouse, nice meal, no stress. She wore black, said she wasn't here to impress strangers. We co-founded a home security firm after she left the force. She handled clients, I handled installs. It worked. Still does. Between us, we've got 4 kids, 3 grown, 1 still in college, and now grandkids. They come visit from all over. Texas, Oregon, even Ohio. The house gets loud, messy, and full of life in the best way. And every now and then, I see Tara around town, usually alone, pushing a shopping cart, grabbing gas, walking that little boy of hers into daycare. He looks like her now, same hair, same stubborn chin. Seems like a good kid, but she never looks over anymore. Doesn't wave, just keeps walking. Last week, Dana and I sat down for our 7th anniversary dinner at that same Greek place. Same table by the window. She reached across the table, squeezed my hand, and said, "7 years. You still like me?" I grinned. Like's not the word I'd use. She laughed, real and loud, and that moment hit me. How far I'd come from that living room, from those nights in the recliner with no answers. As I looked at her across the table, fingers locked around mine, I said it out loud without meaning to. Turns out you can find something better. You just have to stop settling.